I've been doing photography for quite a while, but I've always done it for myself. And the past couple of years, I've gotten to a point that my son was about ready to graduate from high school. I needed to start looking at my own life again and what can I do to get me to where I wanted to be. And so that I'm happy with what I'm doing instead of doing that day-to-day job. Something that it pays the bills, but it really doesn't fulfill me as a person. And I personally believe that life should be enjoyable, life should be easy, and we make it a lot harder than we do. And as I'm looking at all of that, my sister and I had started up a photography studio for doing families and weddings and things like that. And I've always loved the photography. And she's the one that really got me into it. She's the one that taught me the first on taking pictures, using film, developing the prints. So, as we started doing that, it came back to me that this is something that I really wanted to do. So I've been playing with lots of different things. I've trying to come up with these unique things so I stand out as a photographer as a little bit different than the person down the road. But the problem with doing that is I ended up with a large collection of a whole bunch of little different things. And when you're looking at getting into a gallery or an art district gallery, especially where they want a collection, or you to have a collection of 30 to 40 pieces at least of the same subject matter, the same print style, the same everything. So it's all tied together nicely and it's telling a story. So I finally made that decision that this is what I'm going to do, which was about a year ago now. So probably about November of 2010, I made the decision that I'm really going to focus on this. I'm going to start trying to figure out how to do it. And January is when I started to get January 2011 is when I started to get the understanding of, after doing some reading and studying, that I need to have this big collection to do this. So I decided I'm going to do something I always wanted to do, and I'm going to go out west and go to Glacier National Park, which is a place that I've studied the geology of. And it's a place that has been calling to me for over 10 years. And the reason I wanted to go out there is so I could get pictures like this here of the mountains and do this layering effect. So I found a couple people to go with me. And we were going to go out to spend one day at Yellowstone, stop at Mount Rushmore, and then go up and spend 8 or 9 days in Glacier National Park. It was going to be 9 days in Glacier National Park, 7 nights of backpacking, 8 days of it. Unfortunately, things happened. We just didn't meld together as nicely as we should have, and the other people decided to not continue on with the trip when we were at Yellowstone. So I had to make a change, and I was really frustrated and upset because I wasn't going to get what I thought I needed to get. But then I'm walking, I'm enjoying the view at Yellowstone, because even though we decided we weren't going to continue the trip as a group, we continued that day because just how timing was, we were there and they needed to take a bus the next morning, so we weren't fighting, we just knew we couldn't spend 8 days alone in the backcountry together in tents. So as I'm continuing to walk around at that time, I'm off on the trail, and part of the time they were supposed to follow me because we had split up and we didn't, and I'm walking and it's like, you know what, I'm gonna stay here for a few days. I can't do the backpacking that I want, which is the challenge, and you don't do that in you can, I won't do that by myself, where you're taking, especially in Glacier National Park, you're taking a risk of wildlife, you're taking a risk of the terrain, and you really need somebody to watch your back, because you're quiet when you're taking a picture, fairly quiet, and there's bears, there's mountain lions. They can sneak up on you, and nobody knows, because they're not looking for you, they're not hunting you, but they get scared when they see you if they get too close like that. So I refused to do it by myself, and I decided I needed to make a change. I needed to come up with something different. Being out on the trail, I started seeing not only the situation, but things in my life a little differently. So I pursued one of my other loves, which is water. I've always loved being in the water, looking at water, the flowing water, the rapids, waterfalls, all of that's always been a passion for me. So two great places is Yellowstone National Park and Glacier National Park to get these features, especially this past summer, because they've had high snowfalls last year, cooler temperatures, so there was still snow runoff at the beginning of August. So I started to pursue that instead, and I spent 4 days at Yellowstone, and I got off the beaten path. I did hiking. I didn't just take the drive going, oh, here's the glacier, or here's not a glacier, but here's the hot basins. So you have the geysers, the geyser basins. That's the word I'm looking for. So I didn't just drive to Biscuit Basin, take some pictures there, drive to Old Faithful Basin, take some pictures there. I did that one day, and then I found where there's some trail systems, and it's like, excellent. So I drove down to Old Faithful, parked my vehicle, and I walked from Old Faithful up to Biscuit Basin. And it's not a very long walk, it's about 2 miles, not that difficult. Part of it's a boardwalk, part of it's a trail. But by doing that, I found this picture here. This is called Gem Pond. And beautiful, nice blue hot spring. That blue is caused by cyanobacteria. It's about 200 degrees in that water. But because I went off the beaten path, I found something different. I have another picture of a hot spring that was maybe 200 yards from here, hidden behind some trees. You kind of saw it as you were walking by. Had to stop, get off the trail. Not going into the thermal area, because you can really tell the difference where this is the thermal ground and this is ground that's okay to walk on, because you never walk on thermal ground. It might only be ground might only be an inch to the boiling water. So, by looking and knowing the environment, I took a little step off and I found this other picture. And beautiful blues and oranges and some yellow in there. Just gorgeous. And it's not something that you see if you follow the main roads, you follow the main paths. And it really brought to me, this idea of, again, enlightenment begins where the pavement ends. You're going to see something different when you step off the main path that people think you should be on. You're going to start seeing life in a little bit different way. And my photography is just a way to help me walk down, another path in my life, and another way to start seeing, not only people, but environments and buildings and everything a little bit different. So that, if I decide to take a picture of a building or to decide to take a picture of something that's a little bit more common, I try and look at it a little bit different way. And sometimes, people never see those types of things because either it doesn't fit what I'm doing, or it's a neat picture, but it doesn't tell the story that I want it to tell. So it just stays on the computer.